Hello, my name is Frank Reynolds and I head up the new business sales team here at Civica HR and Payroll. This presentation aims to provide some observation and insight on how the current working environment is pushing organizations to introduce and create new ways of managing and engaging with a workforce that is ever more remote and potentially isolated. In today's presentation, I will be touching on the changes we've been through and some of the solutions available to operate in this new world. So it was not long ago that the majority of us were very used to making our way to an office, battling traffic and the crash on the trains and the buses. And when we got there, we worked very closely with our colleagues, with the ability to literally see them over the desk divider or across the office. It was very easy to see if they were busy or what mood they were in. As individuals, we broadly knew what we were meant to be doing each day, and there was a definite understanding of when work started and when work finished. And finally, in most cases, this led to a workforce that was happy, or at least content, that they knew what was expected, what they needed to do, and when they needed to do it. Roll on to the new world, and we find ourselves working from home, perhaps feeling a bit isolated from our colleagues. Yes, we have Zoom, Teams, WebEx, GoToMeeting, and a multitude of other solutions, all designed to allow us to work closely, but it's not the same as being in an office together. Gone is the small talk over a coffee in the kitchen area. It's more difficult to have an unplanned opportunity to speak with a colleague about an issue or an idea you may have. And when does work start? Employees used to have a commute to get to the office, some longer than others. Some people still find themselves getting up at the same time and working immediately. And at the end of the day, when they used to have some time to switch off from work on the way home, they find themselves still sitting at the dining room table or their office desk at home, still replying to emails and answering calls long after they would normally have left the office. It is important for all our employees' well-being that they have the skills to manage their time effectively and provide for an appropriate work and life balance. So how can we help? Well, as mentioned before, lots of us are now very familiar with the tools that allow us to communicate with colleagues and customers. But what else can we do to ensure that we are placing the appropriate emphasis on the employees' well-being? This could be done by ensuring we are providing them with the latest information and updates from our organization, support and advice on how to ensure they are managing their work-life balance, and making them aware of new training opportunities. To engage more effectively with a remote workforce, we need to connect more often and use tools that allow employees to feel more involved, whether that is achieved by using self-service solutions more effectively, or introducing mobile apps, or even regular creation of surveys and questionnaires so that we can understand particular issues they are struggling with. And then, of course, make sure we act upon that feedback to provide the necessary support so that we can show that as employers, we are listening and making the changes that have a direct and positive impact on your employees' working lives.
The unprecedented events of 2020 have prompted us all to pause and take stock, to not only reimagine the way we live, but perhaps most importantly, the way we work. As we look ahead to our next normal, the challenge of enhancing our culture and driving employee engagement and productivity have never been greater. But why does employee engagement matter? Happy, engaged employees don't just give us their time. They demonstrate passion and energy. They're enthusiastic about their work and their employer. Psychologically, they own what they do and they drive performance, but perhaps most importantly, they innovate and move their employer forward. Research shows that organisations with engaged employees benefit from higher customer metrics, higher productivity, higher sales, and ultimately higher profitability. But employees will only ever be truly engaged if their employer continually knows what makes them tick. And to know what makes them tick means continually and innovatively prompting their feedback and then acting upon it in a timely and constructive manner. This concept isn't novel. For years, organisations have been taking steps to try and understand how and what their employees are thinking and feeling by capturing data. Typically, this has been collected via employee surveys or received through ad hoc feedback in the office. Following the recent pandemic, people are wrestling with ongoing change, which includes adjusting to evolving ways of working. Incidentally, resistance to change is one of the main contributors to employees being disengaged. So, as we embark on our next normal, which will certainly include taking a more blended approach to working, the importance of enhancing the employee experience will be more important and more challenging than ever. For example, it's likely to become increasingly difficult for us to get an accurate insight into the mood in the office. Also, as colleagues continue to wrestle with the demands of home and work, this will likely prompt unprecedented people problems. We could find ourselves with blind spots that, if we're not aware of, won't get addressed and could have a very negative impact on our business and ultimately our bottom line. At Civica, we didn't need a pandemic to highlight the value of understanding our people's mood, but we have seen it as a real opportunity to rethink our approach to ensuring our colleagues feel informed, connected and purposeful always. During recent months, we've been doing regular temperature checks to understand how our people have been feeling and also to help inform and shape our next normal. By regularly giving us just 3 to 4 minutes of their time to take part in our short pulse survey, we've been able to continually take action to ensure they feel supported and, of course, acknowledge those things that are going well. We've continued to see an increase in the number of colleagues taking part in the survey, which really demonstrates their appetite to engage, and their insights and ideas have also served to make a real difference to the actions we have and continue to take. We've introduced no end of initiatives across the group to support our colleagues. These have ranged from a series of calls and events to support learning and coping with isolation, to mental health awareness webinars and 5 to Thrive, which was an initiative we introduced where you reach out to 5 different colleagues each week, alongside a whole host of new learning and development support and even local town halls. Measuring performance too can be a challenge. When life is uncertain, we crave reassurance and feedback, and when we're working in the same office, we offer unconscious feedback in all sorts of subtle ways that we're not even aware of. From a simple well done to a positive comment, question or smile and nod of the head, we offer feedback in the subtlest of ways. But working remotely means that we have to be much more conscious and proactive, otherwise our teams will play at guessing, not knowing if they're getting on and doing a good job. The starting point is to set really clear expectations. What do we expect, when and why? And, if appropriate, how. Our caring leadership approach is the core of how we give feedback here at Civica, encouraging our leaders to apply the radical can-do approach to show that you care deeply as you challenge directly. Feedback should always be two-way and continuous. Thank you.
With employees working from home, it can be difficult to monitor the amount of time they're spending working and what they're doing specifically during the day. In an office, working together, it is far easier to understand who is in, who is out, what they're doing, how busy they are, etc. Working from home makes this understanding more difficult, and this is where technology can help to better plan an employee's working hours, perhaps offering flexible start-finish times to accommodate children's school hours. And once the plan has been agreed, then technology can also help you understand what your employees are doing and how long they are doing it for. Ultimately, a lot of the organizations we work for will have to do more with less resource. Inevitable decisions about staffing levels in a lot of sectors have had to be made and will continue to have an impact for the foreseeable future. Technology can help organizations by identifying the employees that make the most impact for your business. Data can help you understand those employees that are the most productive, that have been with the business the longest, that have the experience and the necessary training to make the biggest impact on your company's drive to reduce cost and improve profitability.
Hello, my name is Chloe Upston and I am the Group Organisational Development Consultant here at Civica. Blended learning has always been at the heart of all our programmes in the Academy here at Civica. So when the pandemic came about, we were in a good position. Our people were still able to learn and develop in their careers. For all our programmes, we have live delivery sessions, which are complemented by a variety of self-directed learning tasks. We have pre and post work. We provide questionnaires, recommended reading, articles, videos, and so on. We also allocate mentors and coaches for some of our programs, which really helps as a networking opportunity. To recreate some of those coffee break moments, we also allocate our participants to a Microsoft Teams channel where they can discuss and share ideas. The pandemic has encouraged us to think of lots of new ideas for our programs. It takes time for people to adapt to these new ways of learning, and we're supporting our people to do just that. Luckily, we're able to switch some of our programs and topics to a complete virtual self-directed learning environment, which has great business benefits and lots of benefits to our people as well, such as being able to access learning anytime and anywhere.
Before we examine some of the specific issues and potential solutions for better workforce management, it is interesting that some of the anecdotal feedback we get from employees is based around the feeling and anxiety that some of them have with regards to job security and that nagging sensation that whispers to them, am I doing enough to keep my job? Are my bosses able to see what I'm doing and how busy I am? Ultimately, the impact of these feelings will be negative, but by giving employees an easy-to-use mechanism to record their working hours and what they're doing can have a beneficial impact on both the outlook of the employee and provide better visibility of workforce productivity to the organization as a whole. So we've already covered some of the ideas that will help you understand how your employees are feeling. But with the increase in home working, we can no longer rely on word of mouth or in-person updates to share information. We need effective methods to connect with employees, give them the tools that they can access the information they require when it is needed. And we can also use these tools to allow employees to inform the business of what they're doing and for how long. This anxiety felt by some that their working hours are unseen and underappreciated. Knowing specifically when I am expected to start and finish work is also very useful to encourage the proper separation of your working and home lives. Tools that allow for the recording of working hours can also be used to display the expected working pattern to your employees. And knowing when employees start and finish work consistently can help organizations understand those employees that are skewing the work-life balance by potentially using their old commute times as opportunities to continue working. Of course, there will always be a requirement to sometimes work a little longer than normal, but if you are unable to see consistently what employees' hours are being worked, then it can lead to ever longer working times with employees feeling less valued.
With the new normal and the blended approach to working, there is an increased focus on deliverables and managing performance by ensuring deliverables are met. With less time in the office and fewer face-to-face meetings, leaders cannot rely on seeing that an employee is putting in effort. Instead, the focus is on outcomes and ensuring that objectives are met. With that in mind, the approach to objectives has been adapted within Civica to include the inclusion of a team objective and the expansion of individual objectives to be accompanied by SMART deliverables. Objectives and key deliverables is a popular technique of setting company, team, and personal goals, then connecting each goal with 3 or 4 measurable results. As you achieve those results, the whole objective gets marked done. At Civica, we've adapted the approach to meet our needs in the new normal. The purpose of objectives and SMART deliverables are to connect company, team, and personal goals to measurable results, while having all team members and leaders work together in one unified direction. A large part of the approach is making sure everyone knows what's expected of them at work. They're designed to be public so that everyone moves towards the same goals and are aware of what others are working on at any time. They should be ambitious, however, we also need to recognise that failure can happen, and that's okay as long as we're learning from the experience. It's almost like having a daily reminder on your desk or the wall. What should I do next? What should I focus on? Or how far have I got on this task? The approach consists of a list of 3 to 5 high-level objectives, and then under each objective there should be 3 to 5 measurable deliverables. Each deliverable should be aligned to the SMART model. The structure is very simple. You start by defining 3 or 5 key objectives on company, team, or personal levels. Objectives should be ambitious, qualitative, time-bound, and actionable by the person or team. Under each objective, define 3 to 5 measurable deliverables. They should be quantifiable, achievable, lead to objective grading, and be difficult but not impossible. Deliverables can be based on growth, performance, or engagement. Often they are numerical, but they can also show if something is done or undone. So how would you start this process? Pose the question, what are the most important impacts we need to make in the coming quarter and in the coming year? Objectives should be high-level qualitative statements that are aspirational, not tasks or granular outcomes. They should be actionable and challenging and aim for a 70 or 80% achievement rate. They should also be inspirational and tied to the company vision or strategy, and one that will excite employees. Key deliverables are an evaluation of the achievement. It's the how of the objective. So why are shared goals important? It's a vision of where you want to get to. So why are we taking this approach? This approach enables our people and our teams and leaders to have a clear, unified vision of where they want to get to and how they are going to get there with priorities along the way. It enables our people to know exactly what is expected of them and guides our people towards the right path. It also allows our people to have a daily focus on the most important goals within their objectives.
So the other implication of this new world we find ourselves in is the increased demand to do more with less. To effectively manage this new requirement, we need tools that allow us to understand our organization and our people. We need to have confidence that the employee data that we have access to is up to date, accurate, available quickly, and in one place rather than in multiple databases or spreadsheets. You need to have confidence in your employee data to make better business decisions. Those decisions are being made because of the changing environment we find ourselves in, whether it is the restaurant chain that needs to downsize or the DIY store that is growing rapidly because of unprecedented demand. And to make these decisions and come up with new strategies, you need to have confidence in your data, to have the tools that allow for different areas of the business to have access to it. For example, the store manager that needs to understand employee availability, or the CEO that needs to quickly determine total employee payroll costs. There's been a rapid acceleration in the adoption of automated systems and processes across all business types, with organizations taking advantage of AI and robotic solutions. In the world of employee management, the positive impact of automated process and workflow control has never been more important. Systems that manage employee data need to predict future need and subsequent tasks rather than leaving users to deal with the fallout when something unexpected happens. And employee data can help you identify your strongest performers, those individuals that make the most impact to your business, whether that is interrogating employee data to understand who has the required training or has the highest marks against job skills required, or who has had the least amount of absence, etc. The same data can also be used to identify employees that can be moved to different areas of your organization to meet specific and unexpected demand placed upon your business. So how can Civica help? Well, we can help you understand the cost of your employees' worked hours using the Civica timesheet module. We can help you manage flexible working times using Civica time and attendance. We can help you plan for different schedules and different groups using the Civica roster module. All this information available in our HR payroll and time and attendance solutions improves your access to data and analytics. We can support your employees with contactless or mobile clocking, no touch involved. And we can provide a solution for everyone using the Civica HR and payroll platform.